Hello, Elise. How are you?
I'm good.
And so tell everybody where you are.
Yorkshire.
Oh, that's in the UK. And how old are you, Elise?
I am 7 years old.
Gotcha. Okay, so when did you get interested in gardening?
When I came out of school,
Okay, so walk me around your garden and show me what you started so far this year.
five raspberries on this side. That's raspberries. This is gooseberries. I've got probably about a lot, but not too much. Then I've got mint is here. He's a mint. Then this is rosemary. I've thyme, radishes, cantaloupe, melon, and peas. The raspberries and the gooseberries, I buy them, but the rest and the mint and the rosemary at the time, I buy them. But the radishes, the cantaloupe, melon, and the peas, I got the radishes and peas. I got by seeds from Amazon. And then this is the cantaloupe melon that I buy cantaloupe melon. I took out the seeds and then I planted them.
Oh, wow. So those are straight from the grocery store seeds, something you brought from the grocery store.
Yeah,
And so you started like half of them from seed and the other ones you brought the plants, right?
yeah.
That is awesome. You know, if you start something from seed in the garden, that's a garden flex. That means you are doing it big when you start with seeds. Like that's like pro status right there. So very good.
Blueberries. This is blueberries.
Blueberries. Oh, and there's some on the actual vine.
Yeah.
Now, when you purchased it, did you purchase that as a plant?
Yeah.
And did it have blueberries on it when you got it?
No. It didn't have no blueberries. When I started watering it, then it is growing blueberries. But when I purchased it, it didn't have no blueberries on.
Well, that is awesome. You are doing a great job so far. Now, with fruit stuff, you should know that except for like melons and stuff like that, like berries, the ones that bushes that will come back, you should know that most time, or fruit trees, most time it takes up to 3 years to get like a nice, good harvest from it. So that's strawberries, blueberries, any kind of berries, any kind of fruit tree. So anytime you plant that, don't expect to be able to get like a bunch the first couple of years, but that third year, asparagus too, that third year, you'll have blueberries for days. Now tell me some of the questions that you had.
I wanna ask is how do I prevent insects from eating the fruit?
A few ways that you can keep insects off of your fruits. Well, one, you can use like organic or pesticides, but I know your mom is very natural. So you would want to use organic pesticides, which there should be different varieties that you can find in the store, depending on what kind of fruit you're trying to stop. For instance, slugs, like on your berries, let's say strawberries, you can cut a little plastic cup and pour beer in it, and it draws all the slugs to the beer. I don't know, maybe they're alcoholics, but but whatever it is, they go to the beer. There's also these little net bags that someone has created that you can put on the fruit once it starts growing so that the bugs can't get to it. Or, and you have limited space, but you can keep this in mind, always just plant enough for the critters. So then you can eat and they can eat, because they do need to eat. So you can share with critters, you can cover up your crops, or you can use safe pesticides and natural ways to do it. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. What else you got?
Question 2 is, what should I do if the leaves turn a different color?
Okay. It depends. If your leaves are turning yellow and they're a little droopy, like they look sad or they're a little drained, that means they need water. And because you're doing container gardening, yours need water a lot more than if it was in the ground. So be mindful. If it looks droopy in the morning after a full day, then you need to water it first thing because it will start yellowing. Also, yellowing could be a sign of nutrient deprivation. So it may need a little bit of fertilizer. So that's the first thing you want to try. You want to try watering, give it a little fertilizer. Liquid fertilizer would be better because you really can't go wrong if you mix it right, and give that a try. If that doesn't work, your plant could have a disease or it could be sick. And so once you've troubleshooted those two things, if you watered and you fertilized and still it's a different color, then we have to figure out what disease it has. And that would depend on what kind of plant it is. So whenever that happens, just have your mom call me and we'll figure it out together, okay?
Okay.
Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 is, how was my food has to rainwater only?
Well, you can do rainwater only if you get enough rain. And it's probably best for the plants. Rainwater is the best. But you want to make sure that you don't let the water sit more than 72 hours. Then that's 3 days. Because in 72 hours, mosquitoes will start to breed. And then they'll eat you alive when you're in your garden because you've created a little community for them in the water. So if you collect your rainwater, make sure you have a screen or something on top of it or close it up so that mosquitoes can't get in it. And if you can collect enough rainwater just to water with, that would be awesome. But if not, you'll have to use regular water.
Okay.
Okay?
I've got 3 more questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Question number 4 is, should I water my fruits plants every day or often?
Okay, it depends on which one. So if you have basil, for instance, basil does not like wet feet. So that is not, or thyme. So you shouldn't water them. Those are Mediterranean herbs and they're used to dry, warm climates. So you don't have to water those every day. So you don't want to put like cilantro in the same container as basil because cilantro requires more water than basil does. So it depends on the plant, but the best way to test it, one, like we said, if it's drooping in the morning time, it needs water right away. So I'd say every other day in your climate is pretty good. And you can go up to maybe 3 or 4 days if it's not really hot. But the best way to monitor that is if your plant is drooping. That's the quickest way you can tell if your plants need water. And when they start fruiting, you want to give them more water. Say you're doing tomatoes and it's just growing leaves. It doesn't need as much water as when the tomatoes show up. And then we got to give it a little bit more. Okay.
Number 5 is, should I plant my fruits in direct sun?
For the most part, yes. Everything needs at least 8 to 12 hours of sun a day. However, depends on what kind of things you're growing. Lettuces and spinach can stand to be planted in shade. and they don't need all the hot sun. But things like your tomatoes and your melons and things like that, they need direct sun. So it's best to plant everything in direct sun.
Okay.
Okay.
What soil/compost should I use for my fruit and veg?
Okay. If you get soil, get something that has like natural compost in it, mushroom compost. There's one here called Black Cow, and it's really, really good. And it's like cow manure mixed up with some good stuff, and it's really, really good for plants. So I would say organic compostable soil is the best type, and you can make your own compost by gathering the scraps that you and your family get from your vegetables and fruits, coffee grounds from mom, tea bags, dryer lint, hair. You can use all of these things in the compost, and paper or leaves, and make your own compost at home as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And that is all my questions that I have.
Now, you said you have rosemary in a pot.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So with rosemary, I want to tell you, that's like a hedge. So it can get big like a bush. So you want to put that in a big pot if you can't put it in the ground. So one of the biggest pots you have, yes.
With this kind of pot.
Yes. And that's a good sized pot to grow tomatoes in, cucumbers, melons, and squash. It needs to be as big a pot as you can, because what will happen is, another reason why your leaves could change is that the roots will get way too big. Once the plant gets as big as it can get in a pot, then it'll start to die if it needs more room. So you have to be mindful of that.
Okay.
Okay. Are you excited?
Yes.
And so is this your first year gardening?
Yes.
Do you think you'll grow up to be a gardenista?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person and get to see you guys garden in person. Maybe one day soon.
Okay.
Okay, and you keep me posted on how everything's growing. You get my number from your mom, and we will stay garden buddies across the ocean. How cool is that?
Good.
I'm excited. You are the coolest garden buddy I've had, because you're all the way in the UK, and we are going to do this together. Can you dig it?
Yeah.
I knew that you could. I look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
I hope you saw these in the background.
Oh my God. That is so cool. I was looking, I was like, what are those? I wonder what that is on there.
Oh, is it?
That is the neatest.